Okay, so what we have here is a late 70s, early 80s Italian transistor organ. It's a Welson Gipsy Star. So the it's not, there's no schematics for this. There's a couple for sale. It has a, you know, it's like a cheesy, you know, 70s, 80s Italian organ. Nothing too special, but it looks really cool, and the sound's kind of charming, definitely usable in a little sort of way. So the problem is that you got no schematic with it. So the only thing you have to do is experience and to look up some of the data sheets. So this thing is the brains. It generates everything, all the waveforms, the chords, the bass, and everything like that. So if you look up M108, essentially it's an organ on a chip. And so what I worked out was, what I've been able to work out so far is that obviously that's the brains, and over here is the clock generator, because that sets the high frequency pitch and has the also sets the pitch of the organ. So it was out of tune. So when I adjusted T4 very, very carefully, I managed to get it in tune. The other problem it had, this one, was that you turn the drum machine up and there was a high squealing, high pitched sound. You'd hear the drum machine working, but there was a high pitched squeal. Now, nicely socketed, as you can see. And so what I did was I replaced some logic. So I just pulled the logic that I could find and change any faulty ones. So this one here was faulty. I think it must have switched the accompaniment on and off because it didn't work before. The chip that was in there was the same, so it's no problem. I also found that these two that I've changed here, where are we? This one and this one here was faulty. So it works now, but the tempo stutters and it's far too slow. So I suspect the problem here is that the ones that I have on hand are 4011, but the buffered versions, and the ones that were in there were unbuffered. You see, same one here, and it also had a red dot to it. So they were chosen for a reason. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that if I get my hands on an unbuffered version, I won't touch that one, because that must be the main clock generator, right? For the pitch, I won't touch that one. It seems to be working fine. Is that I can get the unbuffered version of the 4011, and I'll put it there and there. This thing must hold all the rhythms for the drum machine. I'm not sure how many sounds they have. I'll look this chip up. The rest of it, if you go this way, the other problem it had was that the volume out of the line out's too low. I found that must be the main summing output at the end there. So this one here, it's a standard LM1458, so I changed it with the same. It didn't make much of a difference, but I turned trim pot T1 and the volume went up. CA3280 is very hard to get. It's an OTA. I think it's a quad one. Difficult to get, so I'm not going to touch that. It seems to be working. I'm guessing the rest, because all the solo parts and everything here must be here. The solo parts are filters, various things to give you the various solo voices. This must be the rest of it, the chords and everything. They give you the chord sounds and everything like that. This is probably here which was changed because it must have been switching. This one here was another switch, and that worked, tested fine, so I put it back how it was. Yeah, I'm wondering whether some of the okay, up here is a chip that generates the noise, that thing at the end. because if you look it up, it's the noise generator. So the drum machine voices must be this section here. That holds all the stuff, but it generates the outputs and triggers all the voices here. It runs on plus and minus 12. There's also 24 volts. If you look underneath, if you go underneath, there's at the back is it's an audio amp ICs. That one TDA something something. There's a 7812 and a 7912. Obviously main filter, capacitor, and that's about it. The amp runs that. So if anybody ever comes across again a Welson Gipsy Star, I suppose the other Welson ones were probably pretty similar, they might find this video very helpful. Yeah, that's about it. Because most of it works. There's only really one just to up the volume on the output, on the line out. The speakers work fine, and that's controlled by this volume, band volume here. But yet, the line out is not controlled. Doesn't seem to go up with that. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like that or it's not supposed to be like that, because there's nothing I can find on this thing. Yeah, and the drum machine works, but the tempo is like stutters and stops and starts now. It worked fine before, but there was a high pitched squeal over the whole thing. So the 401 ones, the original ones, don't test, but they're fine. But I think I'm hoping that once I get the unbuffered versions in here, that it'll sort that out. Yeah, because I'm lazy. I think if I just do a video, it'll be a lot easier than trying to write this up, and I'll post it somewhere. There we go. So this is a Welson Gipsy Star.